Gyamsuchi, Dagi, Juni, Gibe, Tonangi, Rola, Benje, Sangi, Ruba, Shu, Chudan, Zogi, Chunala, Janju, Badu, Nandi, Gyamsuchi, Dagi, Juni, Gibe, Tonangi, Rola, Benje, Sangi, Ruba, Shu, Chudan, Zogi, Chunala, Janju, Badu, Nandi, Gyamsuchi, Dagi, Juni, Gibe, Tonangi, Rola, Benje, Sangi, Ruba, Shu, Begi Joshi Medo Zhang, Rading Shi Ni De Ken Ba Di Sangi Shindo Mi De Wa Yi Zhogu Nanda Shi La Zhi Ba Shu Yi Dang Kuru Rana Menda La Kan Di Ya Da Ya Mi.
Yeah, that the much name. So it is a town. She dug it same day. One she cut into the other. Mama Jibba, Mashiba, Tanjim. Tinjay man that they want the London Village, but he won a big Tinjay man. They choose to talk about children, check on teacher, check on publishing, the Lama and she so that's Shamba.
All suffering sentient beings have been our mothers, and all suffering sentient beings have been our mothers for numberless times. And they are as kind as the mothers of this life. Even though all kind mothers sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering. However, due to not knowing the object of abandonment and adoptions properly, they create a karma that bring forth the result of suffering only. In our minds, sincerely cultivate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice if all kind mother sentient beings had happiness. May all kind mother sentient beings have happiness. I will cause all kind mother sentient beings to have happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
That age is a contingent mandate to go such a Modibi Cho, Tada, China, Jimari, Tawa Chichi, Tawa Dagisha, Kedashini, Lama, and Shima.
Next, we cultivate compassion toward all suffering mother sentient beings. That how nice if 3 doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free of all adversities. May 3 doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free of all adversities. I will cause 3 doors of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free of all adversities. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
What age is a contingent mandate and quad and so we don't let them this up and gain Yerala project. I didn't get the other one, Sanjay Kumbangi, you got the story of the other one, Sanjay Tanji to Sanjay Kumban, which is the
Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take the responsibility to free all suffering sentient beings, suffering mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms? I should take the responsibility to free all sentient beings from the sufferings of full samsara, from the sufferings of both samsara and of lower realms. But I do not have the ability to do so now. Only those who have achieved the complete state of enlightenment have the ability to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I want to become Buddha.
That age is since a Tanji in the Sanji Kumbata Shao, no, the movie so Kundavati, Rangi Daichi, the number just said that Dago Kabushi. A trade and Legion Mabibada, Rangi Sini, Roji the Children and the Chinese Sini, Rangi Daichi, the Date,
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind, that our aspiring conventional bodhicitta, which thinks, for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to become Buddha. These transform into a perfect mundis. And our ultimate bodhicitta, which is one's mind becoming in oneness with emptiness, that all phenomena are lacking of inherent existence. These transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis. Next, we meditate on emptiness, that I neither exist intrinsically one with, nor intrinsically different from the aggregates. Thus, I do not exist intrinsically. Set motivation. For the sake of all sentient beings, I want to become Buddha. For this purpose, I'm going to receive the commentary on holy teachings and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
Thank you. Also, Kazi Cham the Delivery. Kasi Badu the Mando Sarwa Shiva Basit. Then Aba JC the Chivan is there.
So previously we talked about a Bado state. This week we are going to talk about how you take rebirth in an incarnation.
The JC the Mali with the not the China, the Pami Putala sheet of the Tongue. It's a common negotiation and making a negotiation of Jumaki Putela Chapa. Chapa Chip of some number of the song, you stand the real of the Kanda. That Pasiba take Kandama, that may JC Nama, Chia with the Pasiba de Tamboma, Michio Page Leisure, Michio Page late Tiki. The Tamboma, Chia with the Tambo Pasil may Pasis Blachi. Tambo may Pasiachi. May Pasilachi, then may Chivala Shin Rota. That the Cas Pasiba Chisara, that may Pasiswa and may Kandashi Suniti Kandam, Chimbat and Dawach, yes, it is with each yes. That may Pasini, the Kanda, make job lady Pasini, that may Pasini, that much easy the man, Chivalans, she would walk. That Cassi Pasila Chivalans, the Shutarwa. Pasila Chiva Shutarwa. That may chase the material, that may chase the Naji on the Shilima to she would walk. To share that.
Yes. So previously we talked about if one takes a rebirth, one dies and then one born in the Bado state. So if one is going to born as a human, then one will born in a Bado state of human. So then having the form of the similar type. So if one is going to be reborn as a human, then this being will have the appearance of a human. So after going through the Bado states of a human, then one will born in the human realms.
Kanda the Basilima Chisi Kandarua, Chisi and Rota Pela Kanda, Chasejima, Dama, Chisima, and Rodan Shilwa, Chasej Tony, the Kanda Chisima, Rodanga, the Kora Padu Digama, and Tonsa the Collision Tony, the Chasin Collision, Chigu is a condition Chasej Queen on the Dema, Chisima, the condition Queen Hongosna, that Kanda Mayangadama, Roa, Pami Kotala. Kanda the Quran may chasing the Wajilaman do with it. That Pami Kota Kanda de Nabushiban to Kanda. Hamani, Hama has been Nabushiban to your mind. To your mother, you know, that Kanda Pami Kota the Digi Nabushiban, when Kota in Nabushiban Tony. That day Tony, take on the Della Chasing, Della Chani, that got you in the world. Jiwa the world. The Della Chasing, take on that. That on the Pochivaina, Roa, Mochivaina, Pamela and Dawandi, Jepala Chabani, yes, Roa, Jepala Chatako. That Pochina, Jepa and the Pamela Chabani, yes, and literally the Yandeva. I mean, Nabushima, Roa, Tongala. That Kona was a Tonsa the Dijua. Chassi Jenny Tonsa the Dijon. Pamikura, she or Tonga. Pamikura, she or how many Nabushiva making the Nabushiva to work? Nabushiva to work.
The many levels teaches that when you are born in the womb, an erroneous vision arises with regard to the semen and blood of your father and mother. In that moment, like an illusion, you see your parents having intercourse even though they are not, and you develop attachment to them. The Treasure of Abhidhamma Auto Commentary, however, explains that you see your parents actually having intercourse. So if you're going to be born as a female, you want to get rid of the woman and you become attached to the man and want to sleep with him. And if you're going to be born as a male and you want to get rid of the man and you want to become attached to the woman and want to sleep with her. So how do one move from the Bado state to the birth state? The birth existence. So previously we talked about there are 4 existences, right? So how do one move from the Bado existence to the birth existence? So it is due to attachment. So due to attachment, then the Bado beings will see, they will have a vision or they will see something. So what do these Bado beings see? So if this Bado being is going to be born as a man, or human, is going to be born as a human, then he will see the semen and blood of the semen and blood of your father and mother. So they see the parents are having intercourse, even though the parents are not actually in the intercourse. However, they're like an illusion. They see their parents are in intercourse, and then they generate attachments towards them, and then they wish to sleep with the father or the mother.
That I want to do Roa. That Pochina Kanda, a cheaper than the Mochina Kanda, Roa. The Pochina and Kanda, a cheaper than the dish Pamela Chawi, Chapitan and Lichina. Mochina, the Kanda, cheaper than Tandichi Roa. Mochina Pamela Tandi, that cheaper Chati Kanda, Roa. That isn't do the Kanda. That Pami Kota Kanda, Nabushiba, Pami Nabushiba, make the Pami Kota Shilo, that Pami Kota Nabushiba, that indeed tone with Roa, that tone with that near the Osh. Near the law with it. The Pamiki Yalanki and Uyama. That Pamiki Nabushiba Yalanki and Uyama. That Pamiki Sematan Yato. That Sematan Kuran, they want to get on with the Kope Kanda, Basibati, Kuntosani. Dela training, the Kanda, Chili, the one, the Kanda, I may get training, the Basibati Chipon, Akanda. The Basidan Chiponi, the Tom Janova, that not here, meet you at Sanjan.
So as says on the text, so if you are going to be born as a female, then you want to get rid of the woman, you become attached to the man. And if you are going to be born as male, then you want to get rid of the man and you become attached to the woman. So what does the Pado being see is the semen and the blood of their father and mother. However, like an illusion, they see their parents are having intercourse, even though their parents are not in intercourse. But like an illusion, they see their parents are in the intercourse. So actually, they only see the semen and blood of the father and mother. So so then when these Pado beings, due to attachment, then going nearer and nearer to the father or the mother, and then they do not see the form, they do not see the father and mother in whole anymore. So what they can see is just the organs or the gender organs of the father and mother. So then they become angry at this vision, then they die. So they get angry at this vision and then they die, and then they take rebirth. So furthermore, due intense attachment between the father and mother, and then concludes with emissions of thick fluid. After that, 2 drops of semen and blood invariably emerge from the two. Once the 2 substances have united in the woman's womb, they turn into something like, for instance, the skin on boiled milk that has cooled. So if you put the boiled milk on a cup and you let it cool down for a while, then you see a skin or a layer on top of it. So it's like that. So at that time, the intermediate existence ceases, and at the exact same time that ceases, by the power of the consciousness that connects with the new birth and other combinations So at the same time, at that point, the intermediate existence ceases. So at the same time, then one takes rebirth. So one takes a new rebirth. So so then from the Tantra of Heruka, Tantra of Heruka, then he says that the sentient beings entering through the crown or the mouth of the father, and then go through with the substance, and then the fathers and mothers blood and semen mixed together, and then the consciousness enter the combinations of it. Then one takes rebirth, and at the same time, the Pado state ceases. So along with that, the consciousness that enters at that time is posited as the foundational consciousness by those who accept a foundational consciousness. And those who do not accept a foundational consciousness assert that it is the mental consciousness that takes rebirth. So those who accept the concept of foundational consciousness, then they say the foundational consciousness takes rebirth. And then one enters into the birth state, which is in the womb of the mother. And those who do not accept the foundational consciousness, they say it's the mental consciousness that takes rebirth. So if it has no desire to go to a birthplace, so it talks about if bottle beings wish or do not wish to go to a birthplace, so what will happen? So if the bottle beings do not have the desire to go to a birthplace, the intermediate state or the bottle state beings will not go there. And if it doesn't go there, it will not be born there. So therefore, the intermediate state beings of someone, so if an intermediate state being was someone who devoted to wrongdoing, who has committed and accumulated an actions for rebirth in hell, or in three lower realms, in hell, or in animal realms, or in hungry ghost realms, then such as killing sheep or trading in poultry or pigs and the like. So referred to beings who who has a bad morality, who likes to kill sheep, who sell chickens, birds, or pigs, etc. So then they will see. So in the battle state, then these being will see, as in a dream, they will have to have such a visions or appearance. So they will see sheep. If this being is going to be born as an animal being, then this battle being will see sheep in their appearance or in the visions, and then at his birthplace, and will rush there with the delight of previous familiarity. Because this being before enter the battle, so in the previous lives, these being like to kill sentient beings, right? Kill birds, sheep, pig, etc. So due to this great familiarity of killing those sentient beings, then this battle being will rush there. So will rush there, and then he will then become angry at the sight of his birthplace, because when they rush there, and then they see the forms that they are going to, they're going to take rebirth, because lower realms, then the form will be a bad form. So and then they get angry at it, and then the battle being, after getting angry at the sight of his birthplace, then this battle being will end. So this battle existence will end, and then this being will be born in that respective birthplace, for example, hell or animals or the hungry ghost.
내가 너시 이다라 두고 샤 이제 시고로와 인도다 이다 미단데바 수나 가지 다 소라 나라기 제네스 가다 다 봐도야 뭐와 봐도야 이제 시고로 다 된들이 봐도 이다다 메다 데바 가지라서 다 소소소소 봐도야 되게와 다 봐도야 되게 랑이 되어와 다 제네 린치비 제네 중고와 아다 린치비 제네 들어와 어 지금 대통령과 대통령 생각 라나 리디바 통화자 소소소 라나 리디바 저 통이 그 가와치 다 가와치 그 통이 그 데라 가와치 누구를 스텔란데 받치소 텔레 우리 대제네스 간다 야도 속에 다 갈로 수준다 버리 통이 그 통이 때 빠시바디야 트레이닝 가다 생각하는 거예요
이제
기빠지장 가지고 보시면 되죠. 그 제네스 이다라서 그 제네스 통이 다 간다디 그 좋으라고 그 트레이닝 가운데 그 간다 이다라 제로 그다와 그 트레이닝 가 이다라 제로
이다이나 디 가와친디 통기를 배기죠. 이다 다보이나 이다 가자 개월랭이
그룹에 그 공사로 이다라 마치에 내 마음을 싹 공사로 공사로 이 공사리 그 간다 그런 제네스 공사리 그 코텔라 간다 담보 가와치고 그 가와치고 그 제일 통이 한zel이 그 저 군도라고 그 군도라고 그 간다 이 가 빠스는 거
So similar to these are rebirths as hell beings, hungry ghosts with coitus and so forth. So this is an example of someone who is going to be born as an animal. So and similar apply to rebirth those who are going to be born as hell beings or hungry ghosts. So like those other beings, they able to see the birthplace and the beings where they are going to be born. So of a similar type. So birthplace of a similar type, for example, if these other beings is going to be born as hell beings, then they will see the hell beings and they will see the birthplace also. So, and then after, and they see those birthplace and the being birthplace as delightful, and then they will rush there. And then when they rush there and they see the form is an inferior type of form, and then they get angry at it. And due to this this anger, then they die as a bottle beings and they reborn in the and they take rebirth.
간다 그러게 라라 소소게 린티바 다 간다 린티바도 통에 소소게 리신도 그것도 베텔라 가와치를 해서 다 가와치는 대도 한 누구에서 간다 다 내도 린티바 되게 제사가 제네들 통 뜻처럼 해서 봐 제네들 통이 뜻처럼 내가다 내가는 때 아시든 가는 때 제네들 할 제도 간다로 제네들 할 제도 해서 가 밑에도 안 되나 봐
Yeah, so these bottle beings will see, I said those of similar type, like the beings there, or they'll see the beings there as delightful. Then they go nearer to those beings. Yeah, go nearer to those beings, and then they see the birthplace, and they see the birthplace as an inferior type. Then they get angry at it. Then, due to this anger, they die in the bottle state, and then they take rebirth.
어디 지랑아도 그러다 지니 저희의 진지기 지스들와 저희의 진지기 지스들와 한 줄에 대가서 이제 간다 저들이 남는데 간다 저희의 지방의 전전에 저희의 지나 전전에 돈도에 간다 일이죠 진지를念되는 죠 그와 그래서念的단대가 제소 길을 제로 그 소화되는 진지스 다 전전에 그 간다 제로 다 간다 저치스 저희의 죠 어디 이시로와
야 제 주기당 제 주기대로 디 내당 지대로 자주
들라 차니 보고라 간다 저희의 죠 들라 차니 그 차오디 때 간다 저희의 죠 단니란 데는 되게 차오디 때 간다 진지 진의 죠
가서 기초리로 and then here it talks about the way it talks about how one is born, the way one is reborn. So in the treasure of Dharma, the line says others strongly desire odors and an abode, means that if you are going to be born from heat and moisture, yeah, you are born upon desiring odors. And if you are going to be born miraculously, you are born upon desiring an abode. So if one is going to be born from heat and moisture, so this is one way of being reborn, one way to get, one way to take rebirth. So this is the way one is taking rebirth. It can be born from heat and moisture. It can be born from womb, can be born from egg or born miraculously. So if one is going to be born from heat and moisture, then you will desire the odors. And due to this, one is born from heat and moisture. And if one desire and abode, then one will be born miraculously. So moreover, the commentary explains that if you're going to be born in a hot house, you go to the intermediate state upon desiring heat. So you desire the heat, then you go to the you go to the respective bottle states. And whereas if you are born in the cold house, then you go to the intermediate state upon desiring coldness. So you desire the coldness, and then with these you go to the bottle state. And then one go to later, then one go to a cold house. So the treasury of Abhidhamma Auto Commentary explains birth from an egg to be similar to a birth from a womb. So birth from an egg and birth from a womb is similar. So before I talk about the next outline, the measure of its development, then I want to talk about 12 links of dependent arising. So talk about it through showing you the wheel of existence. I will let me share photos. Yes. Yeah, so this is the wheel of existence. So based on this picture, then I will explain the 12 links of dependent arising. And so probably some of you have not seen it before, and some of you have seen it many times already. So in case if you have forgotten the information in relation to this wheel of existence, and this will serve as a reminder. And in case if you have not seen this before, then by explaining the 12 things of dependent arising based on this picture, it will definitely benefits you. So, and before I talk about the 12 things of dependent arising, so within this, before we resume the class, then we had about 2 to 3 months holiday, and then within this during this holiday, then you're engaged in discussing Dharma, and then you're putting effort in continue to studying Dharma, and then you're also sit for the exams already. So I really appreciate your effort in continue your great effort your effort in studying Dharma. And then I'm also very happy for those who have sit for the exams. Then I thank you, and then I'm very happy about it, and then I rejoice in you. And regarding the exams, so these exam systems, even in monasteries, this system exists as well, and also in many institutions also have the exam basis or the exam system. So exam or test is like the precious teacher. So the exam is likened to a precious teacher because it is the one who encourage you or to push, encourage you or to urge you to study, to study Dharma, and to urge you to turn towards the Dharma. So if for some people, whether they are going to sit for the exams or not, they remain the same. They remain they put great effort in study. So whether they are going to sit for the exams or not. So however, this group of people is, the number will be very little. So only a little number of people who will put great effort in study, regardless there is exam or not. So, and for most of the people, if there is an exam, then most of the people, they will put greater effort in studying, do revisions. So so in terms of the effort that one will put in studies, will makes a great difference whether if there is an exam basis. Yeah, so, and I was informed that you all have paid a great effort, and paid good attentions to in the studies for preparing the exams. So I'm very happy about it, and this putting effort in studies and in order to prepare for the exams. So however long time, that however long the durations that you put in study, then these durations of time will not go wasted, because during this period of time, you put effort in accumulate merit, roots of virtue, merits, and also to purify your negativities. So even if you find it very tiring and find it difficult, so however it is for the sick, it is for however it is for it is dharma related. Therefore, your effort will not go wasted, and the time, however long you put in study, will not go wasted as well, and you will not regret it. As compared to activities like normal activities that you do, or even the normal exams, or even normal projects and etc. that you do, and then sometimes after you finish that actions or that activities or that projects etc., then you will regret. You will regret it, because sometimes you realize that there is a fault occurs etc. Then you regret it. So, however, the effort and the time you put in studying Dharma and practice, you will not regret at all. And then some people might think that just having a good heart will do. So it's not necessarily have to study Dharma. So some people may think that, and there are some kids, there are some kids who do not like studying, who do not really study that much, and then they will have this thought. So, however, when we say just having a good heart is good enough, so not necessary to study Dharma. So even if this statement or this sentence itself already mentions how important it is to study. So what it means is someone says that having a good heart is good enough. So having a good heart, then we must know how to generate a good heart, right? The proper way to generate a good heart, and what kind of heart that we should generate. So all these we will understand through studying. If we do not study, then how do we know that is a good heart and the proper way to generate such a good heart? And once we study it, then if we study how to generate a good heart, etc., then our good heart will become very stable, and it will not change all the time, and it become very stable, and we will not sometimes we have this good heart, sometimes we don't have this good heart, and this happens due to not having generated a good heart with study or understanding.
이제 ndo 다른 도바는 가서 보침부 시를 내가 자침부 시지 차선 좋아. 대개자로 정보랑 가서 니 세다 아 간다 좋아. 뒤的세 간디나 배 뒤에도 땅 바데 또 세파 조스나 아디까지 조나 뒤에 간디까지 조스나 고쳐서 간다. 뒤에도 바데 세 내가 정도가 고쳐 버렸어. 당가서 뒤에 맞대봐 소속에 난 내가 장장ala 뒤에 따빠리게 들라 잡아 이 다도 뒤에 돌고 오늘 이미 뭐만에 너무 쉽잖아. 뒤에 소소다 맞대봐이나 단이 다고 왜 이제 소요. 뒤에 소소다 지 맞대봐이나 뒤에 뭐가봐이나 다가라 그러자다. 뭐네 다네. 이게 간다 제발 제는 가서 지휘 막 가서 뭐만 지휘 막 예. 어디 제일 지휘해요. 무슨 지가는 제발 지금 이래서 지휘와.
Yeah, and this whole program, these basic programs will take another 5 or 6 years to finish. So, and you should kind of promise yourself that until then, I will not give up and I will continue to put effort in study. So if you have this objective in your mind, then you will definitely accumulate extensive roots of virtue. And after, so if you have this in mind, then after 5 or 6 years continue study, then you will find after we finish the program, then you realize how much time and how much effort that we have put in studying a Dharma. So our time will not go wasted because we utilize the time on activities that is Dharma related. So because of this, then you will the spending of time will become very worthwhile. So even your great effort, your time, and your lifespan will become worthwhile because you have spent many times and your most of your lifetime in studying Dharma. If we do not do so, then and we only think about our works and we think about our family matters, then time will just go by. Regardless what you think about. So even if you think about even if you think about family matters or think about your work, time will just go by. And then one of the previously I also talked about it that you have to give yourself time. So and if you do not give yourself time, then time will just go by.
너 주지 그거래. 된도딩 가서 토말레는 당 가서 에너지 가서 돈에 제 추는 당 가서 답반진가 돈에 제는 이제 가서 로ጭ는 가서 다 간도 답버리시지 추 돈에 제지 로ጭ 나올라 가서 계자 평지 계자 야사지 사사 와 계자 야사지 사대 아찌 맞아 봐이나 아찌 엄마래 소소 다 미스기지 냐니 제야지 제구나 이제 바로와 이 맨날 때 뒤에 대화를 넣었어. 엄마 넣었어. 엄마 넣었어. 넣었어. 봐. 엄마 넣었어. 넣었어. 아서서 그 메시지 장 여봐이나 나니 제 요로로 제바 메시지 여봐이나 뉴스 와와. 근데 같이 매봐이나 예 간다 뒤로 뒤에 넣었어.
And so I came to LDC for about 10 years already. So, and we have had a class since then. Then we discuss about Dharma in class and etc. So it depends on each other. We both accumulate roots of virtue. So if we, and during these 10 years, this period of 10 years, and if we do not attend any class. So don't mention about you're doing your own practice and you're doing your own study, your own Dharma studies. That will be different. And if we do not do anything Dharma related in these 10 years since I've come here, then you realize that these 10 years have gone wasted.
그래서 정확히 이제 그 간다로와 내가 다 간다 된다보다 정확히 다 그다보다 뭐지 나요 뭐지 아디 니 단다 배구시네 간다 정확히 연내 지야다 너무 쇼침도 너무 지야다 니도 스탠다 배구시고 니 배구시래 타망한테 참아 미친다 지나 간다 만치 내가라 시야기 산사질을 내어디 예 너마기 내가 파시와 참수선은 세는 샤워라고 여러와 그 샤워딩 놈아 어다 들리지 별로게 제사 덴디지 로서 당연히 당연히 디세지 콜라 만두아 간투 찌두지 제 투수 사다라시 덴디지 덴디 유아요다 와 니 간다 놈아 비시 덴디 그래서 달로네 제스 뭐 일라서 다 단다바다 소소 담마 미스인다지는 아주 시 간다 질러도 다 간투 찌두지 제 투수 사다지 정말이나 네 간다 수준 제법이 버셔와 그래서 디세 콜라마 당 당아 저게 디세 강가다 맞은 네, 소속이 나오기 소화 집어가 땅에 되나 소화 집어가 뒤에 땅에 되나 밑에 짜 첨부는 우리 집에 자기 우리 전에 쉬고 탑주고 쉬고 찾았어 봐 먼저 지금 소화 동지 지야도 무엇도 이나 뒤에 참아들라 땅에 우리 전에 탑주고 쉬고
So this is my encouragement to all of you and my exhortations to all of you to continue your great effort in practicing Dharma and to studying great texts and studying Dharma as well. So all of us, whoever it is, we are going to die. So and we're going to die one day. So at the time of death, then we will kind of, those things that we have done throughout our lives, then it will appear in our mind. So when it appears in our mind, and if we recall my advice, so Kishla said, so if you recall my advice that continue to study, you must study and practice a lot. So if you recall my advice at that time, then you will remember that I do follow the advice of Geshe Junru, and then I do put effort in studying Dharma. So I have spent my life in studying. I've been able to put effort in studying Dharma. So if you recall this, then you will die without regret, because I did not waste my time upon this precious human rebirth. And we have studied the importance and how precious it is, this human rebirth is. And even if we have studied, and if we only think about our works, our career, our business, and our livelihood, etc., think about this and family matters only, then even though we have obtained this precious human rebirth, then this is not the best way to utilize it. So the purpose of studying Dharma and studying these great texts is not just for taking exam. This is not for this exam, and because I speak from my experiences, my teachers, they teach, they give teachings in the monasteries, and then the students, they will gather and then they discuss about Dharma to each other. So in case if they have doubt, then they mention it and then they discuss, and then their doubt is removed, and then the understanding stays very firmly in their mind, so they remember it very clearly. So after I give I give teachings to you, then it is very important to join the review class, because in which you all are going to listen. You all are going to discuss about Dharma, and this is very important. So the purpose of studying Dharma is not just for sitting the exam.
在在这了，这种这在全部学有，他就说人家啥啥的吧，啥啥的，我就说可以全部学的，这他妈都是呀，是了，我想都没有是吧？
Yeah, so please keep this in your mind because I speak from experience how important it is the review class. Because in which you are going to discuss Dharma, and definitely you will have a better understanding. So even if you have doubts after the review class, then we can discuss together. So please keep this in your mind that how important it is to join the Dharma discussions review class.
这个是最主要的，当不被我是主推要嘛的去做路啊，在家里那个前面你忙不的，家里学教路啊，要等到被课上是已经可能，要讲到山里田里的要这个的，对了，那么说，要课上是被已经学全部就可能，是吧？那样叫都是去做来，全部的我说，但你做出的我说熊忙不，就我说，但都是吃的，我把有了吧？你没做为了我说熊。 人们忙不就跟着这样有用了吧？也有用嘛。这常常看到，你可能家里学不教多，那家里教的都是说那个钱呢，那我们讲的，那家里教不要容易差不多，是吧？
Also think about how difficult it is to start a basic programs because in the past, the basic program we did not start the basic programs in LDC. So and through the collections of many conducive conditions, there are volunteers who take the responsibility to take in charge of this program. For example, Dr. Go, Candy, Sally, Faye, Amala, etc. Then, due to their taking responsibility in these basic programs, then we were able to start the basic programs. So if without such conditions, we wouldn't be able to start these basic programs. Then we will not have the great opportunities to study so many great texts. So it is worth our effort in study.
这个历史上说，是吧？要讲到两个人可能不让参谋了，你得你他把你机器学，讲到在家里学习了，就是参谋的那个设备还不是吧？在家里也是就是当学习的人，那就是讲到两个今天讲到给你他把机器学，是吧？
Yeah, that's I would like to sincerely thanks all of you, especially those volunteers who have spent so much effort in making this possible and effort and their time in making this possible. So I sincerely thanks all of you.
我其实马上就爬到我这个农村里边，两年前的长近些年吧，长马些吧，这个边长毛运动的，错了全部晒的，我把就用学啥长毛的，那么就是新华那个那么条的就是吧。
Yeah. So I would like to make an aspirational prayers here, and I hope you do the same. That until yeah, yeah. So I wish that all of us have this opportunity to accumulate extensive merits through continuous study until until we die. So we have this we should cherish this opportunity. May we have the opportunity to accumulate these extensive merits through continuous study until I die. So I pray, I make such an aspirational prayers, and you should do so.
我听的就是说，要讲的常常都是经常都去学的，是吧？
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I rephrase that. And my aspirational prayers is, may we continue to study and accumulate roots of virtue until I die. Yeah. So rephrase in this way. So may we continue to study and accumulate a great roots of virtue until I die. So I make such an aspiration for this, and then you should do so. That's all. Yeah. So back to this will of existence. So I would like to first talk about the history of this will of existence, how this come about. Yeah, so how this wheel of existence came about is when Buddha was when Buddha was alive. When Buddha was with us. Yeah, when Buddha was alive. Yeah, when Buddha was alive, then in the central place, then they are in central place. Then there lives a king Bimbisara, and then in another remote area, then there lives a king Udayana. So this King Udayana presents a gift of a precious armor to the King Bimbisara. And so after King Udayana presented a very precious gift of armor to the King Bimbisara, and then King Bimbisara was wondering what to give back, what gift to give back to King Udayana. So not able to think of what to give back to King Udayana, then this King Bimbisara went to meet Buddha and asked, so what should I give back to King Udayana? Then Buddha said, so you should give the gift that illustrates the presentations of Four Noble Truths, which is the wheel of existence. So Buddha said you should give the illustrator of the presentations of Four Noble Truths, which is in the image of wheel of existence. And this wheel of existence has different parts also. So you must give the wheel of existence together with parts that illustrates the presentation of Four Noble Truths to King Udayana, because depending on this image, then the King Udayana will be benefited from it, and together with the entourage, all of them will be benefited with this gift. So Buddha having said so, then King Bimbisara presented, a wheel of existence painted and then give as a gift to King Udayana.
That the Kanda Jabuta and Alapa Pijarina. That Joe Mambo, that Tony about the Jabu for number Yoga no that you Tony about the Nagi, that Holo de la Tini, Holo de Jawala Tini, the Kanda Jukiwa, Dichi Joala Jukaru, Dunga, Duala Jukani started Dunga, you would. That lady in Asha to say, Pita Yabushi, Pita Yabushia, and Nigi, a pa, Bezage Sala, that under Tashi, Pita Wish, one Brody. And the late Jundik, Namsha de Jamachi here, Daisy London to Pa, Jamachi Shiagi, and the that Tashi, Tap put the Chuaji, and the Wilson back on that, and that other day, so.
So King Udayana received the gifts of this image, and so together with the king, together with the entourage, so countless entourage were benefited through this image, by this image. So and through this image, they understand how happiness or what the happiness, what happiness comes from, and what suffering comes from. And they understand the presentations of cause and effect as it is, and they also develop a good understanding of Four Noble Truth as well. So presenting this gift to King Udayana is really a skillful man.
That is so that they can that that's about Golden Jawala Tini, they can that Digi Lando is Chewaya Bushi. They Yams Lambia Kar, Pat Obia Carvelo, Fishy Balti, Deja Taba, the Tanji, Kubaya Travi, Pepe, and the Kaji Chebuchi, the Talat, Sanji told me the Talat to Varua. The idea which I was in that and the Dilatini, with Deja to do Mamu and that. Taba, Tabiku Batoni, Palantoni, with the Mobuchu, Reservoir.
Yeah, so these pictures illustrates the presentations of cause and effect, the Four Noble Truths as well. And independent on this image, it talks about the object of abandonment and the object of adoptions as well. So in dependence on this image, many beings attain the path to liberation and the path, the Arya path as well. So this is really this great skillful means of Buddha.
Nanji Kanda, Tindi chose the Monga, Diniwa, Sheripuda Mongani. That's Sanji Sumbana, she put the Jamo to the Pendo Chinakanda, Lando Tini, and the Monga, Sheriput to the Himdua,
Mananshi,
or Timbaka, Lajet Passamananshi, Chile, a Mobush, the Jab Mogola Timbabia. That the Nicho, that Timbakanda, that Tabarishi Moga, the Sheriputinashi, Tabarishi, the Digmaris, Digmari, that dig its head over the leper. They can Sibang Kandati, Holo, Kitchen, take under wa, Kitchen, take under Bokando. That so the homes of Bohan to this well, say, that's a member to the Hana, when you're not here and remote chair, you see, that remote to get Lucy, the Buddha to Redua. In the Itapari, he chose the Heli for the Mongo and Shitapachi to the Maris. That other remote, Sibang remote Tini, very remote in the color the color. The Wokan, Bonjo, not the Jijan, that mean Mamun changing civility. The Telesi, the Telati, the Kandarua, the Kanda, Tiguala Kanda, the Yitsi, Samba Yumba Shadow, the Yitsi, Junior, the General Region, the Yitsi. That is all of Taudi. Then we had done it, Jab Tapilang, the Tashi, Shubidish, also that Jaya, Tabat Punching the Honey and Gravy, Tala, Lansabolia, Chia. Tashi Lankaboli Chela, Tashi Shubish, one Napola Mandreg, a Tashi Chilation, Lankabola Dreg, Tashi, which is that on the table Marcel.
Yeah. So, and there were two great disciples of Buddha, so Shariputra and Moggallana. So Shariputra and Moggallana, they give teachings to the disciples as advice, according to the advice of Buddha. So Buddha gave the advice, and then Shariputra and Maukayana also give such teachings to the disciples. And Buddha said, and Buddha said, Maukayana and Shariputra, they will not they are not able to stay there all the time. So however, to benefit the beings there, then Buddha instructed the disciples to draw this wheel of resistance on the door, on the main door. So, like for example, in the monastery, then you will always see this wheel of resistance drawn on the door of the prayer hall. Then, so whoever come and pay visit to the monastery, then they will see this wheel of resistance and able to get benefits out of it. So even though Shariputra or Maukayana is not there, then you still can get the benefits. Then, so this really the skill. This really is the Buddha's skillful mean to guide the disciples to the good path, the path to liberation, the path to the path to omniscience, and then to get away from the black path or the unwholesome path.
다 간다 시방 콜로 디 간다 콜로 힘들게 난지 용달라 다 간다 시방 콜로 단 코이 콜로 단 미다다나 어디 만들어 예서 와 미다다다 개파수주야 내당다 미다서 만들어 비슷비슷해서 다 미다도 비슷 만들어야 된다는 게 내서라 대화를 하셔 시방 콜로서 가르치나 다 레다 녀문이 마빠가 대이 형화도 넣어봐이나 그 고아 시빠들라 양양의 꼬라지를 대화로 포도지. 얘가 대화로 들리는 것이 좋아. 이 힘파 콜로 시빠들이 자르시로 봐 대마도 봐지. 자르시로라 봐. 얘는 로마도 봐. 레다 녀문이 되게 형화도 짠짠도 되바이나 다 시빠들 자르는 나로마도 봐. 자르시로 쳐 대마도 봐. 대마도 봐때 시빠량 콜로스 시빠들라 양양의 꼬라지를 포도지. 된다 되는 좋아. 미다도 이젠다면 돼서
and there were two verses written on this wheel of existence as well. So these I'm going to talk about it. So the wheel of existence in Tibetan is called Sibe Kolo, and then there's another name is called Kowe Kolo as well. So if translate into English, then it will be the wheel of existence or the wheel of samsara, or the wheel of cyclic existence. So in Tibetan, there are two words, however, they mean the same. So the wheel of existence or the wheel of samsara. So what it means here, why does it call a wheel of samsara or wheel of existence is because if one do not abandon karma and afflictions, and if we fall under the control of karma and afflictions, then one will circle in this wheel. So one will take rebirth in this wheel again and again and not able to get out of this wheel. So that is why it's called wheel of existence. So what does this wheel of existence symbolize? So there are many symbolized meanings. So what does it symbolize? So this image is illustrator or the symbol, Yeah, and what does it symbolize, or what does it illustrate? The illustration part. So it symbolizes or illustrates the presentations of samsara and nirvana, and it also condenses the essence of 84,000, which is the four noble truths, the teaching, the presentations of four noble truths. So it talks, and these four noble truths talks about the objects of abandonment and the objects of adoptions as well. So just this image itself condensed the essence of 84,000, and it contains the presentations of samsara and nirvana. So this image is especially beneficial for those disciples who are lazy. So when the code ye namsha tang chubong kiti shidong ina di ningbo de yang denshi ro. So the presentations of samsara and nirvana, and also the essence of 84,000 teachings, is the Four Noble Truths. Yeah, so it refers to Four Noble Truths, and these Four Noble Truths talks about how one enter the samsara and how one get out of the samsara. So it talks about the presentations of samsara, right? So as I mentioned, due to karma and afflictions, one haven't abandoned karma and afflictions, and then due to falling under the control of karma and afflictions, one uncontrollably circle in samsara in place of six types of migrations. So the six types of the six realms that we talked about. So one uncontrollably circle in samsara like a water wheel. So the water wheel it rotates, right? So it rotates continuously. So due to these karma and afflictions, one uncontrollably circle in the samsara in these six realms. Yeah. So come to this. So this wheel. Yeah. So I tried to maximize it. Yeah. So they are internal and external wheels, and this makes four wheels or four stages of wheel. So you can see four wheels here. So the first level, or the first level. So you can see a bird, a snake, and pig. So this is a bird, this is a snake, and this is a pig. So these three represents or illustrates the three poisons: attachment, anger, and ignorance.
다 두수 관리처고 있어요. 단 대차서 되게 샤디게 대차 샤디게 대차 중에 해서 주디게 해다 파기 뚜무 된소에 해서 담보.
So bird symbolize attachment, snake symbolize anger, pig symbolize ignorance.
다 대수의 간다 예수는 소스 가르에스네 다 간다 뚜무 파바테 와 뚜무 파바기 때 간다 되게 지기지라 간다 지다 파바기 간다 주게 주마라 카지 소이 숨바다 주게 샤르티 지리 숨바다 예수를 좀 봐지도와 신은 다른 미시는 게 근디시 단다 간다 지기지라 전에 또 숨바다 다 간다 뚜무 개왕 때 간다 공도 대왕이 야 대차 대왕이 야 지나 두무신 지나 가서 레 예수 두무디 메바서 맞나 두무는 대차 제 세번째 공도지 내 참아도 림바기에 가서 좋아 내주신데 그래서 뭐 좋아 내주 가서 거기 내는 있는 거 그래서 두무 싸워 두무 파게 뭐 두무디 빠마 두바이나 말이 두무디 빠마 두바이나 그 간도 대왕이 그 거라지는 대차 공도 참아
So out of among these three, pig is the main one. So out of these three, pig is the main one. So in other words, the ignorance is the main one. So you can see the pig has have the tail of snake in its mouth, and the snake also have the tail of bird in its mouth. So what it means is, if one not able to remove or eliminate ignorance, then anger and attachment and anger will come gradually.
this was so as a tumu party, tumu dewa tumu pata tumu denzi, tumu denzi, that's all tumu dewangi, that kind of chanda, and a chada most say, convert pay, and chance use a thought to set this to the tumu. We did soon to tumu chanda.
So bird represents attachment, snake represents anger, pig represents ignorance, and among these three, pig, the ignorance is the main one. And due to ignorance, especially the ignorance about the ignorance of grasping, true grasping, then it induces many other afflictions such as anger, attachment, and other ignorance.
The China Kanda, the Chatua, Shab removed the Kanda, dear to the Chada Kanda, Shat Prince, Shat Yelua. The shouting on the Shap Prina, Shap Prince. The Shap Prince or the Kanda, the Church in the future, we should use it. And married a conduct Chigamo, which I took under the Shat shouted to the
Yeah. So here the bird is a dove or pigeon. So, and this dove or pigeon or this bird represents attachment. So why the dove or pigeons is referred here? It is being drawn here to illustrate attachment, is because dove or pigeons they have many mating activities in a day. So they have strong attachment, and due to these, they have many mating activities in a day, and therefore the dove is drawn here to illustrate attachment.
That's the this was the control. Do control that she don't see the children. Yes, do pay up at the Sunday. That this was the 写当时的我是觉得空中写当时的才全部的话，我在等于那些对对对，写当的空中的去的去全部是的也是话，去全部身上，他对对了，对对这个这个这是对的，写当成的话。
And snake represents anger because snakes naturally has great anger in it. Therefore, a snake is drawn to illustrate anger.
那我做空中时候的，因为去全部了的，然后呢，因他们个少空里面全部了啊，然后呢，现你看少了人家，我这边写当空中的去全部了的，再讲的，心里边的还讲空中去写的呢，你，整个套你心里你有个，人家被空中去全部点往里面了，但全点到了是吧？等于有了话，空中去全部，我在等于身上，但这个这个哪些被空中差不。上去参谋了被灭吧，都当了被，也少了被人家理解是多少，我对小个这个。
So snakes naturally has great anger, and naturally it causes harm to others. So it brings it endangers others' life. Therefore, snake is drawn here to illustrate anger. So if one harbor a great anger, if one have a great anger, then due to this great anger, it will endangers not only the lives of others, it endangers one's lives as well. So, like for example, due to anger, then some people they even fall unconscious and then died out of it as well. And some people, and due to anger, and then they start to use weapons and take things and to start to harm others. So, therefore, snake is drawn here to illustrate anger.
这个呢，就是这都是下过的，但这让你参谋了呗，你把接个少年把心里那些，但现在时候呢，我说话，现在时候的车不你看那我就已经把别在看你上了被空中几个被胳膊夹了，动了什么上了，这里给在你看，那可是我们学车的话，我空中几个被他胳膊夹了，动了什么，这里被给在动了，这里被你把全部学的是，我这时候的，是没这个的，这大概让他也被。那把这都当了被，这说被说接了，里被那个说是我身上别的做的是吧？是的。
Yeah, so just like the snakes, bring harms to others and it endangers others' lives. So due to anger, one also it will brings harm to oneself in short term and in long term as well. So it brings the temporary and also long term harms to oneself. That as previously we also talked about, due to anger, it will destroy our roots of virtue accumulated for 100 eons or 1,000 eons. So it has such a great power in destroying things. So due to the similar nature to the snake, then the snake is drawn here.
在这里是让我觉得，怕死我的我觉得都没参加的也是很凶的哇，怕死我，怕死我的我说，长都去呢，离了么个，在长嘛的是做包的是，你可以要嘛，他过来，七八要嘛，你辛苦嘛，是吧？你辛苦嘛，没事吧？这让你少了啊，你去呗，先把那个几类是呢，可能呗，可能想自全部中给那个起码都先辛苦嘛，是吧？说进去一类吧，先把那个一类吧，可能看到还叫被领过的，我把心有吧，我这说进去呢，都看到这个全部想把等利，你等利看到目的，怕这个是吧？
And the purpose of drawing a pig here to illustrate ignorance is because a pig, naturally then has this, is not intelligent and has a great ignorance. So, to pig, they do not differentiate cleanliness and dirt. So whether it's clean or dirty, to them there's no difference. So, and to pig, then even the butcher comes, they will regard that, due to ignorance, then they will regard that butcher as someone having affections to them.
我到底好的你看到是吧？ that's also more Shikanda, Rangi Solang, one Shamba in a village of the chamber doing this digital machine. That's the Maribate, the Maribate, and they did a take on like Jana Mon, Jana Money. Then Pemba, the word the Sosa, Jingy, so Jingy, Pemba that they were each other in Jawa, Digidubi, Dolpa. They want the Digidubi Dola Salon, Digit and a bomb at the Digital. To me, was that one that Nendigi, Nila, single Mari, Monday. They corner the Jana, she turned the Mashiba Monday. Indeed, Momba, they want to rock. That Momba, they want to tell on the pay. Roa, Digi, Tatu Duya, Kanga, the father drinking. The Patachi Sagi, Jumazana, which is on the machine won't work.
Initi kaza degi di zigi yoro, degi igu di zigi yoro. Pendegi soza jungi, so jungi inati, de degi su zigi yoro. Degi igu di zigi yoro. Momba di.
Ko Chudera, Ko Chudera Kanda, or Tumu Mariba Dewangi, Chudekanda. Here, the Ashara Kunto, I just someone called Toda Vigilas. Some of the two huge chamber of the Toda Vigila, some of it. This also would be Digi, so Tongi Jenkins, the Toda Vigila, Mashiva, Machine, Mumbawangi, Toda Vigila, some of their mother. Then you saw Jenkins, machine woman. Chadamus.
Yeah. So due to this ignorance, so being confused with karmic cause and effect, and also the reality or the suchness, then due to this ignorance, they are confused with. Then they mistaken the cause of negativity, which is as those three poisons: anger, attachment, etc. That kills their root of happiness and benefits. So they regard these killer of their happiness and benefits as their companions or as their friends. So due to this ignorance, they mistaken those who kill their roots of virtue, their happiness, as their friends. Yeah. So basically, the innermost ring represents three poisons: attachment, anger, and ignorance. So I will stop here. And do you have any questions? Last week we didn't have time for questions and answers. For questions, right? So if you have any questions, then you can ask now.
Ken, sorry, can I just ask a clarification question here? In the context of the three poisons, isn't the Tibetan word for this timuk for ignorance, or is it also marikpa?
Is
it cipa-cikiang ke?
Cipa-cikiang ina saya. Yeah. So in Tibetan, Timu Maripa, and some or in general they just say Maripa. So both means the same. So both means ignorance.
Because I always heard that the three poisons comes from the ignorance marikpa. You know, all these three afflictions comes from marikpa. So that's why I always thought that this was timuk, the ignorance of not knowing in this context. Whereas in the root afflictions, then it is a general for both the wrong conception of reality, as well as the not knowing of like karmic law and effect, in the root afflictions. But in this context, I thought I probably wrong, but I just wanted to clarify. Yeah.
ya tiu maripa tapo ina de ni tapo yora mi shebe maripa ta ene de kasa ante kasa chinji losu zimbe maripa de ni yorwa ene de 제사 ene de tanda ni maripa se de yana de timu maripa de chipa chiga ina de niga la de yang dugiyo de na ola anchu dugiyo na
지발이다.
chiparwa
맞아. 뚜무 마리바세 된다. 마리바세 같이 발라져. 딱 볼어라. 띠무스와데. 그 앞에 간다 된다 들어. 뚜무 마리바세 와다 마리바세 된다 지발에서 와. 된다 지발에 뚜무 마리바라 간다. 뭐마다 미치 다도 그만 된다다. 마리바라가 치바 뭐시 치바 지장에서 와.
미시베 마리바 당안에 디가서 치지 로수 집에 마리바 데다 치바 치가노. 디 사마디 마리바라 디 두기요로. Yeah. So yeah, the ignorance of not knowing and the ignorance of misapprehensions or misconceptions, then all these are included in this ignorance or maripa. So or timu maripa. So I mean, maripa is just a shorter way to say timu maripa. So it's easier to say the shorter version. So this ignorance, this maripa or timu maripa includes these different types of ignorance.
간다 가서 마리바세야 띠무스와 간다 단다 마사와 이 마사와 가서 가서 시면 마리바세야 마시바 마리바 마사와세 가서 던지 미기 나나나 버와 띠무 마리바 띠무스와 간다 로 마사와 로 마사와
나서 던지 미기 나가
던지 미기 나가
띠무 다 마리바
띠무 마리바 냠도 가서 용다 뭐 볼래 띠무 마리바 하죠
Yeah, so even this timu and tiu maripa, they mean the same. It's just a different way of calling the same thing. So timu, I say you can also say it refers to unclear mind. It refers to unclear mind, and ignorance also has the meaning of also has the is in the nature of not knowing. Not knowing, not not clear about something, not knowing and not understanding something, then is what ignorance means, or it has such a nature. Then ignorance also has the meaning of not having a clear mind. So timu maripa and maripa, it's just a different way of calling the same thing.
Thank you.
I'm just curious to find out why at the beginning that this innate ignorance is there. Is there any reason to explain that one? And why also simultaneously the innate tendency to differentiate the duality of this and that at the very beginning is already there, naturally innate there. How is that sort of? Is there any explanation?
So, sorry, is there any explanations for the ignorance to exist at the very beginning, right? Is this your question?
There are two parts of it. One's ignorance. The other part is that the innate tendency to differentiate, to label. To me and others, they come together, from what I understand, right at the very beginning. So, just curiosity, whether there's any sort of explanation.
The second part is have the innate nature to label or designate thing, right?
They come together. I think they come together.
이게 가장 어제디 토마 메바네디 가사 데기 개월레디 랭기어와 콜로라디 코아코이어와 근데 아니 가서디 토마 메바네 디 고고라 디 가사 이 티모 마리바디 요바 아니 디 가사 김세 시아요나스 완시디 가사 디 고고라 디 가사 장신기 디 티모 마리바디 요바 아니 디 김세 시아요나스 아니 양디 당념도 대장 생지도 이니 가서 innate nature. 내가 생기에 얘네 디 민자민자디 따기요로 민 따당다고 요라 타니 도바자디 이니 디 타니 도바다 이니 디 말이바 이니 디 생기 행계기 anything 토마 메바니 고고라 데 요바 anything 약김세 시야 요나스
마리바 토마게 바니 와서 여들었어.
데 요베 양간 요추죠
그 여기 전생에서 하고 그랬어. 단다 마리바니 여 차이 제라 그 토마게 바니 그 주데 마 제부도 마 진이 용바다 땡키사스. 이제 들어서 반지에서 토마게 메바니 마리바 여기 전생 가지나 나도 단다 마리바 요요라고 되었어. 요요라고 돼. 토마 메바니 마 진이 간다 마방바 빵마도 받지 여대와 선사 그때기 배 지지마 주니 지지마 주니 그 간다 빵마도리 무슨 내는 거지 간다 여대와데 간다 여대와데 말이 빵마도 봐 토마메 바니 중앙 선사 그 빵마도 봐 대개지 했어 대개지 견지 들어서 감지 그랬어
그냥 유추다 보이나
그 여기서 제가 간다 줄라 여러와 여대와 선사 아마 여기 견지나 때문에 막 정말 단다 받을래도 그래 그 바로 지라 빵사바이나 그 단다
이래디 단다 기기자 말아 와인데 토마 메바네 데 말이 봐 유요바래 이래디 유요바 김센데 요나스
여기 이제 단다 여기 이제 키우고 그랬어 단다 여차 이제 단다 여기 이제 토마 메바네 주니 문제부터 있대 말이 봐 토마 메바네 단다 받아 여바 선사 단다 여기 이제 토마 메바네 여기 다 있어 여기 다 토마 메바네 내가 썼잖아 단다 여하고 여 말했어 단다 여야 말했어 와, 단다 여와 순자 줄라 마리파데 여와 순자 내 토마 마 주니 문주하데 내 토마 여가 토마 메바니 여바데 내 자가 되는 거랬어. 이 주제 되는 거랬어.
그래서 이 니가 되자 펜션.
이 주제 되랬어. 토마 메바니 여비 주제를 단단 도와 하세요. 단다 여차 지나 내 토마 메바니 주니 여대와 주제 되는 거랬어. 빠마 도와서자. 빠빠루 지나 빠빠사나 내 단다 요구 말에 내 말했어.
Yeah, so there are two ways. Why? How say? Yeah. So why do we? How say? Why do we have? Since yeah, why do we have ignorance since beginningless time? So how's it? The way that it exists or how it exists? How this ignorance exists since beginningless time? Yeah, because I you too. Is there an explanation? Sure. How ignorance? Yeah.
엄마 여기 진짜 단단 말이 봐도 줄라 단단 줄라 여기 진짜 엄마 토마메 바니 여기 와도 시네마 주니 이 주니 용바래 했어
That's right.
주니 용바래 했어 어때 주니 용바서 단단 도와 단단 여기 진짜 토마메 바니 여기 진짜 했어
Yeah. So why do we have ignorance now? Is because we have ignorance since beginningless time, and this ignorance, how say, it continues until this time. Since ignorance is not abandoned, therefore we still have ignorance now. So okay, it depends on as if the time being. As it depends on now that we can tell that we have ignorance previously, or then we can trace back up to beginningless time, and because of having ignorance since beginningless time. And until now, since it is not abandoned, therefore, until now, we have ignorance. So you can look at the present, then it tells the past, and then you can look at the past, and then you tell the present.
dimba jeba zelle bachwa da jeba ze dimba jeba zelle ne da dimba jeba ze da kanda sa dimba le bai shem diure dimba zelle chade da kanda ni jila mari pa de du wa mari pa de du maybe gyuchega thoma na da chuma thoma thobi kamne zune mari pa de pansa res da chuma thoma thobi kar da kanda pa mari pa yo maris jina kanda jila yo maris kanda me jikanda da chuma thoma thobi kar zune 이 말이 더 판사리스 이 판사 선자 어떤 좀 근데 사tumbai 그런 기다 이 말이 더 루스 너 말이 더 루스 이 미비 주제가 다좀 토마 토비 깔는데 아무니가 숨마 가반도 바이나 이 말이 더 판사 난 아서 코아 토마 메바네 말이 더 요아서 마파 와서 다다 줄랑 가서 제리 버렸어 와 그 다좀 마토나 Dachuma Matuna, Dachum Matu, the Kanza Tipachimolaya, Shuni, the Satamba Niba Mandori, the Maripata Europe. That's a Jiba Matuba, the Mariba Yorta. Said Jiba Matuba, the Mariba Bangamarwa. Dachum Matuba, Dachum Matuba, the Satamba Niba Yakati, Niba Sumakatino, Mariba Europe, Payamaka Mariba. That's a Jiba Matuba. That's a Jiba told the Shini Kupangua. That's a Gubadimas, the Mariba, the Pang, the Marwa.
Then, yeah. So, and those who have achieved this arhatships, then they have abandoned the ignorance already, right? So when they and then they continue their path, then from the first ground to the eighth ground. So when they reach the eighth ground, and then they look at themselves, so they observe it, and then they realize, and they can tell that in their mind stream there is no ignorance. Why there is no ignorance when the arhat is on the eighth level is because they have abandoned it when they first achieved the arhatship. Therefore, they can tell in their mind stream now there is no ignorance because they have already abandoned it when they first achieved the state of arhat. So, as compared to this arhat, then ordinary beings, for example, ordinary beings, because of not having abandoned ignorance, therefore now at this time they still have ignorance in their mind stream. Also 대한 가사에 도바딘데 여러 아니면 미카시 ini di 가리지니 di 말이 바데 유효바래 가리지니 di 말이 바데 유효바래라고 ini 담보 양 기울라 대한 가리지니 유효바래.
Katuba Yoda, Namaris, Nimbo Temado Disease. Nimbo Temado, Pomatos of the Yobaris.
Yeah. So then some might wonder, why do we have the ignorance at the very first place? Is because we did not apply the antidotes to remove it. Therefore, it exists at the very first place.
Good.
Yeah. I have a question, Yeshila. Selena here. Regarding the bardo, I'm trying to understand how mutable the state of being in the bardo is. Because when you die, your craving and your grasping activates a set of karma, of throwing karma, right? And as you say, when you go into the bardo, you are already taking the form of your future rebirth. But what if you cannot find a form after 7 days or 14 days, etc.? Is karma able to change in the bardo stage so that you activate another set of links within the bardo to take on a different form?
바도와 이거라 ini di kan di xue yue sa ini gasa 바도와 ini gewa chima ye su nian de ini de lengi yo wa gewa gasa andi mi gewa de lengi yo na ini di 바도와 de su nian na yang mi gi number de tengi yo wa nangi yo wa ini kesi 바도와 de ini di gasa sha dun cha dun di nang lo la ini di gewa di kasa gewa di mal lenwai na ani yana di gewa chima di ma rawai na ini kandi ji yonggi de sa kongsu gi number de kandi tengi yo kari tengi yo ini de ni ba de yang kasa ya ini pasi ikabla ini di le di gewa to res kongsu gi le na de yang kasa kawa gi yo me ini le de gewa to res.
Tako pasi pa progresto. Maso ta hai pasi na kandarwa. Ta kanda hai pasi na pasi ka kanda hai shizuji number double chiyo. Ta mei pasi na mei shizu number double chiyo. Ite progres. Ta kanda mei pasi te kanda cheri na kanda pa de chena ta sheku bindi yichi sheku sera yichi sheku pada. Ta kanda to se pasi din chila ne padma ngagro basi din chima se ko se din chima yoma din chila ngagde ta mei pasi de ngani ya pe hai pasi la sa pa ndi pa chine ji da ya chelo ne se hai chesi la no ma hai chesi la khadu che ya hai pasi la ya chene ya 야 디디 지고 봐 지와 내사 말아봐이나 야사 이 바스레 파지 야 메이 바스레 찍게 되는 거 그래서
알아요.
바시 포니 바시 지지리 파준 거야 그래서
기와당 레나데 가자.
어디 이러고 그래서
Yeah. So if a sentient being is going to be born, as it yeah. So if this Bado being is going to be born as a god, then this Bado being will take the form of God. And if this Bado being is going to be born as a human, then this Bado being will have the appearance of a human. So this, the durations of Bado existence is 49 days. So 7 days, 7 weeks and 7 days. So each week or after 7 days, then they will die. They will die in that Bado existence, and then they will reborn in Bado state as well. So it could be the first week they have the Bado state. They have the Bado state of a human, and then after 1 week they die, and then their karma can be changed, and then they change due to the change of karma, and then they reborn in the Bado state of a god. So the karma is changeable in the Bado states as well. So then the second week, then if they do not find the rebirth, then after 7 days they die, and then the third week they could reborn in the Bado states of a human again. It can it's changeable. Yeah.
Can I ask another question? What are the categories of those people who skip the Bado? For example, like the Lamas who can meditate on Tukdam, do they go into the illusory body? So they skip the Bado. My question is that so? And what are the other categories when you skip the Bado?
So I heard something about like a meditator and then who enter into the Tudam, right?
Then you don't take rebirth through the Bado anymore. Is that right? And whether are the other categories who can escape the Bado?
Yeah. So yang pina chesana di kasa gomba dawa ina ni kongso di Tudam la di shuyo na ani di Bado pasila di dowe marwa.
이 말은 무슨 말이지? 그만 중대하다가 주제 처음 봤어.
ini di kongso di Bado pasila dowo marwa. pasila dowo marwa ini. Ini di yang
pasila dowo 말일 때 주제 잡는 거는 도구라 pasila. 미 주제나 미 pasila do고래. 수민이나 pasila do고 말해. 예.
주제 참모 di 가와 ina.
이 주제 잡는 거보다 pasila 두번 지나로.
ini pasi yang di dubiro.
제 두고라 맞아 pasila 두고 미 주제를 마셔 있는. 주제 잡는 거 가지고 막 가는 게 미 Bado 두고.
미 기와 di 기기요 나와. So ini yang Badola pasila madoa 탑시 신다 카리요 그래서.
바디들 줄이 두트야 가서 기재 시고야. 그거 좀 와서 되잖아. 디비 데이터라 가서 줄이는 데 지내때 상지사가 뭐 기재 시고. 그때 와서 되잖아.
줄이 토와이나 데 바도라 두고 말아.
바도 데.
바도기 돼.
기재 시고. 그때 와서 되잖아.
맞아. 바도기 돼나 디 가서 인디 줄이 토와이나 디 파실라 두고요.
이 바시치는 뭐야 그 말고 상지사야 줄이 뭐야. 오빠야 줄이 되는 거.
상기기에 yeah. So when we talk about when one enter when one enter into the meditations of Tudam or the clear the clear mind meditations, clear light meditations. So when one enter into the clear light meditations and and if this subtle mind of death ceases, if this subtle mind of death ceases, and this being like a meditator will still go into the Bado existence as well. So if this meditator after death is going to be reborn as a human being, then in the Bado state, and this used to be a meditator will take the form of a human. So if this meditator, I say instead, achieve the illusory body, achieve illusory bodies, then this being or this meditator will not go into the Bado state, and instead this meditator will take the will born as a human, born as a Buddha. The 상기기 류기기로 하기라. 규律 상기기 규律이 토기래. 익상 이가서 규律이 토와이나 아니 가르치기래기라.
줄리들은 가서 다 줄이다마다 줄이다 뭐뭐 그런 거 하셨겠잖아요. 줄리들은 야야 생각이 야 마시야.
바실라디 도고 말아와이라.
바실도 되더라고요.
That's all. Yeah. So sorry. So if this meditator achieve the illusory body, then he will not go into the Bado existence, and gradually he continued to practice, and he will achieve the state of enlightenment. Right. So this is tantric related. So yeah, I want to go in depth.
Thank you. I have to just stop here. These are the chicken
So we stop here and we conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue accumulated, especially through these Dhamma discussions, for the happiness of sentient beings and for the flourish of Buddha's teaching. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue for wars and conflicts, disasters, and a pandemic to be ceased immediately. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to sentient beings who pass away, especially in this pandemic and due to wars and conflict. May their negativities accumulated since speaking less time be pacified immediately and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. Nyama me bai ne kondo bewa jo tusu changshin jamun gewe den zingyong bebe kunsu do boze chosun ku element ju ba ta so du je kun do sha de jo ye song du ju be lang che che se se kang chen chen ju gwen chan na pe mo den zing ga zo la so wa de so je de le do jo pende ma le ba kang le jung wei san bei yi xin no ka din zu me den zing ga zo la so wa de so du je le do jo kang ye da wei ko wei xin kang de ye wa ma lu jung wei ne chen re se wang den zing ga zo yi sha bei si de ba du den yu ji